Yo, it's your worst man Joe, and we are doing crossover boxing analysis, episode 2. And this time we are talking about the GOAT of crossover boxing. Might not be the best, but he's the greatest. KSI, KS Sizzle, knowledge, strength, and integrity. We're talking about his boxing. I'm not talking about how he is as a person. We're going to talk about how good he is as a boxer. Yeah. We're going to keep the personality out of here. We're talking about his freaking ability. His freaking ability is great. And first, we're going to talk about his technique. How good is KSI's technique? It's okay. It's not the best. It's not the worst. He doesn't have his hands down all the time, but it's not like Floyd Mayweather type technique. So, in his first fight, yeah, it was probably the worst technique I've ever seen in boxing. He probably, his first fights, they were atrocious in technical boxing. That's why boxing lovers, when they saw it, they said, this is a stain on real boxing. That's why they're saying that, because it was not technical, they were sloppy, they wanted to trade, they telegraphed all of their shots. It makes sense why most people didn't like it, because it was not good. So, because KSI, he wanted to brawl with Logan. Even though he could have just gotten out, he could have just gotten in Logan's range, out of Logan's range. Come on. But he managed to get wins out of that, so maybe it's not that bad. But it is that bad. So his technique in those first 3 fights were some doodle buns. And in the next 3 fights, his technique was like a real boxer. He fought technically, his hands were up, he wasn't telegraphing all of his shots. Storms didn't see his shots, Pineda didn't see his shots, Tepper didn't see his shots. He's not telegraphing them that much. The only bad thing about his technique is he's relying on the left overhand so much. He needs to add some more moves in the arsenal. Maybe an uppercut, or if he adds a good uppercut or a good hook, his technique it'll be good, because he's telegraphed. If you just see a right jab, you're gonna expect the left overhand, because that's how much he uses it. That's why his technique is going down, because that's his big power punch, is the left overhand, and nothing else is really exceptional. So every time you see it, I just go back out of range, so he can't hit the overhand. Every time I see that jab, get out of range, because he can't hit the overhand. So it doesn't matter if he goes up against the most good boxer, because he will lose. Just like how Jake Paul lost to Tommy. He will lose. So he just needs to get good. He just needs to add more variation into his shots. Then and then his technique can get better, because he can get more creative with it. He can start using more stuff. Oh my gosh, the guy got bullied. So if he just adds some more stuff into his arsenal, his technique will get better. So, and then in the Tepper fight, we saw his third technique, the karate MVP type stance, bladed with his hands down, bouncing around so he could dodge back or lunge forward. It's not the best technique for boxing, but it's still a good one, because most people are not gonna expect a bladed karate type stance. So if he does that against Joe, Joe might not expect a karate type stance. Like he might not expect a really big lunge from KSI, even though that's what KSI does most. But he can add variation because he has a different stance. So maybe the karate, because I can't really talk a lot about his karate bladed stance. Maybe I could talk about MVPs, but it's always different for everyone, and it's a whole different other combat sport. Like, MVP did that against MMA fighters in MMA, but KSI is doing it against boxers in boxing. So there's always going to be different things that are going to happen. So I can't really test that. I can't really talk about it. But next, we're going to talk about his skill. How good is he? Well, he's decent. That's all I can say. He's decent. Like I said before, he fake jabs, left overhands. That's what he wants to do. That's what he likes to do. That's his favorite thing to do. Right? Like, he has no variation in his attack. He just lunges forward and prays that he hits him. The only thing exceptional about his the only thing that's really skillful is his heart, and that's not the best, because you're not gonna win with just your heart. You're gonna have to use your skill, your technique. You're gonna have to use multiple things. Like, his chin is exceptional. He got knocked down. You could say, yeah, but he got held. His head got held down. It doesn't matter, because if he didn't get held down and you got hit with the shots, you would be down anyway. So he got knocked down, but he stood back up, so his chin is okay. And then his jab, it's not the quickest, but it will still manage to hit sometimes. But it might not hit against Joe, because Joe fought Devin. I forgot his name, Devin Hay, bruh. So it might not work against Joe, because Joe is 9-0. He's a good fighter. I think I might have to watch some of his tape, but it might not work against Joe Fournier. So his skill is probably mediocre. He is on like Alex Wasabi type skill, Deji type skill. He keeps on talking about his work ethic. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I'm not gonna really get into his character, but his skills, okay. I don't really see him throwing a lead hook, a check hook. I don't see him going into a clinch, hitting him from the clinch. I don't really see a left hook. I don't really see left overhand. I don't really see a good snap jab out of him. Like, I don't see any of that in KSI. So I don't know what they want me to expect. But it can get better. There's always a way for boxers, even at old age, to get better. Like Manny Pacquiao, he can still learn a few things even though he's like 40-something, right? So there's always going to be good things and bad things. There's always going to be pros and cons. There's always going to be trash stuff and good stuff. Like, you're always going to see that. And next up, we're going to talk about his body. How good is he genetically for this sport? And I have to say, he doesn't have the best body for this sport. You could see his chest. He has great abs, right? He has six-pack, yeah. He's buff, right? But that doesn't make him good at boxing. You can have the fattest guy ever, but he has the body for boxing. You can have the skinniest guy ever, but he has a body for boxing. Like you know what I mean? Like Andy Ruiz, he beat Anthony Joshua, but Anthony Ruiz, he's fat. Tyson Fury, he beat buff Deontay Wilder. And he's fat. So body doesn't really mean anything, really. Like, six-pack doesn't matter. Look at Salt Poppy, he's fat. So, body doesn't matter. Not body. Physique doesn't matter. But body does. Because your shoulder width, your reach, your height, maybe the guy you're fighting has to punch up or has to punch down or just has to punch straight. Like, maybe like a short guy. I don't know if Joe Fournier's short. He might be taller than KSI. But maybe Joe's used to punching up. So he's not going to be used to be fighting a shorter guy like KSI. Maybe Joe Fournier is used to fighting guys that are shorter than him. So he's used to punching down. And it's going to be hard to go up against a guy who's like his height, I think. So it matters. And I don't really know KSI's reach, but I think it might be. I know it's not like a Tommy Fury reach. Like, Tommy Fury has the body of a boxer. His shoulders are big, his neck is big, so his chin is gonna be good. Like, you know what you're gonna see out of Tommy, because he looks like a real boxer. Tommy has the reach of a boxer. He has the body of a boxer. He has the physique. But I already said it doesn't really matter about the physique. So, KSI's body is not for boxing. He doesn't have the best reach. He's not the tallest, so he doesn't have the height advantage either. So his body's just mid, really. It's just like a normal type. There's nothing really outstanding about his physique. And next up, we're going to talk about his opponents. But then you're asking, Joe, what does opponents have to do with it? Why do you have to talk about his opponents? That doesn't mean how good or bad his boxer is. Yes, it does. Because if KSI is fighting Floyd Mayweather and he's knocking him out, he's going to be the best, right? But if he's knocking out B. Dave, he's not going to be the best. So that's why your opponent matters. And his opponents are not that good. Joe Fournier beat who? He beat no one. He beat freaking Theo. I forgot Vaughn, I think. Theo Vaughn. No, that's Theo Baker. My bad. Not Theo Vaughn. Theo Baker. He beat Theo Baker and he got the KSI fight. So, freaking Joe Weller, he has not been the best opponent for KSI. And then next up, the Logan fight. I don't think Logan is that good. I think he's one of the most overrated boxers. Like, Logan Paul has fought 3 times. Hasn't won a fight. Right? But you're saying, oh, but he's fighting one of the best, right? No, I already said before, KSI's mid. So, Logan Paul, he's not the best opponent. He's not. I know he might not be better than Joe Fournier, but I haven't really watched Joe Fournier. And then next up, he fought Luis Pineda. Pineda is crazy. He fought Luis Pineda and Swarms. Swarms, he's not the best. Pineda, he's not the best. Like, right after Luis Pineda fought KSI, he had a break. And then where did he go? What opponent did he go up against? Logan Paul? Salt Poppy? No. He went up against B. Dave. B. Dave. And KSI wants to fight Jake Paul, who fought real fighters like Tommy Fury, Anderson Silva, Tyron Woodley. Not Ben Askren, because have you seen his striking? Trash. So, how can Jake compare? No, how can KSI compare to Jake, right? Makes sense, right? Yeah, it does. I'm not gonna. There's no buts. There's no buts in this. If that KSI has not had the best opponents. After Swarms fought KSI, who did he fight? He fought the guy that lost to Gib, Jay Swingler. You could say, no, he didn't fight Jay Swingler. He fought Ryan Taylor, the guy that had a full-on brawl with Slim. Seems like a good like estimate after a KSI fight, after a loss, like after a knockout in a KSI fight. Seems like a good idea to fight someone who just lost in a battle against a guy that's arguably worse than KSI. And he knocks him out. Hitman with the left jab, and I couldn't deflect that, right?
It's about time that I got my get back.
So,
Hitman with the left jab couldn't deflect that. Let's not forget that.
Hitman with the left jab and that couldn't deflect that, right? But he got lucky when he won that fight, right? Because he got a lucky hit. Oh, hit me in the eye, coach. Hit me in the eye, ref. He hit me in the eye. I can't see out of my eye, ref. And that's not on Swarms, right? But it does really put him down a little bit. It's not really gonna show how he's a good boxer when he's fighting a guy who he beat with a one punch, but he hit him in the eye and he couldn't see after. Because it's not the fairest, right? So we'll just have to wait and see until he fights Joe Fournier. But as high as KSI is rating him, the way KSI is talking about Joe, he is acting like Joe is the best. He is like 50-0. He's this trained boxer, right? I'm not even supposed to win this fight because he fought Devin Hay, dude. Who if I fought Joe Weller? So maybe Joe Fournier is that step up. Maybe he is the catalyst that makes people respect KSI's opponents. Maybe he is that. But I just don't believe that. So, I can't really talk high about Sean Poppy because his technique is so good. His skills are so good, but who has he fought? No one. Worski hasn't fought before. Hall Him hasn't fought before. Jeff Buckner? Good. So they're basically on the same level. Sean Poppy and KSI are on the same level, pretty much. And that is basically it. So that is the end of the second episode of Crossover Boxing Analysis, and I will see you guys later. Leave a like if you liked the video, leave a comment if I got anything wrong, and leave a comment on who else you want to see next on Crossover Boxing Analysis Episode 2. And I'll see you guys next time.